Greetings, survival horror fans. EQA Nostalgia here, and Resident Evil 0 sucks. Really. Resident Evil 0 sucks. That's news to me. I didn't think the game sucked. Did anybody else think Resident Evil 0 sucks? Raise your hands. Alright. Fuck you, buddy. Your opinion doesn't matter. Sit down. No, I like Resident Evil 0, and evidently now that it's been remastered, we're starting to see reviews for a game that we haven't seen reviews for in a while, right? And that's kind of how it works. But people are saying that this is the most boring out of the Resident Evil games, and they didn't like it for various reasons. And yeah, there's just a lot of negativity out there that I've seen, and I've read things from people saying, you know, this is the weakest in the entry, and it's the reason why Resident Evil fell apart, because after this game, that's when they started going with the action stuff. Huh? I guess I've been blaming Resident Evil 4 falsely all along. I shouldn't have been doing that. It was Resident Evil 0 that was the main culprit. No, get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. Resident Evil 0 was a good game. Did it have issues? Yes. It definitely had issues. There were things about the game that irritated me, and I do believe I've talked about this in the past. The character zapping, where you could just zap between Billy Cohen and Rebecca Chambers. Didn't, you know, at first it's kind of cool. You know, you fall through the ceiling and it's like, oh man, oh no, I can just switch as him. Oh, and then I can send items to the dumbwaiter, and I can just kind of ferry items back and forth between the characters, and then it became monotonous. For me, the novelty of being able to switch characters just wore thin. Personally, I loved what Resident Evil 2 did with the game. The way that you could play as Leon, and then you could go through and play Claire, and then you could see everything differently, and it added this replay value there. And yeah, just Zero didn't do the same thing. It just let you switch back and forth, which was kind of meh. And then I started thinking, man, wouldn't it be cool, even way back in the day, wouldn't it be cool if I could play this online with other people, and other people could play as Billy while I play as Rebecca? Because come on, everybody wants to play as Rebecca. This game was fan service for Rebecca Chambers, and that's me. I'll raise my hand. I'm definitely a fan of Rebecca Chambers, so you know I've got that going for me with the game. But yeah, I don't know. I've thought about it, and if they did have it that way, you would be doing a lot of standing around while the other player does things. They would have had to completely change the mechanics of the game, because you know, I don't think it would really work out. But you know, I don't think it's the worst. Now, where I think a lot of people are giving this game criticism is the fact that you drop items in this game. And I remember hearing about this and being like, oh, you can finally drop items. Because how many times did you pick something up and you're like, oh, I don't want to go all the way back to the freaking chest and put it in there. Oh, I'm just going to eat this herb. I'm just screw it, I'll eat this herb. I really need it, but I'm going to eat it because I need to grab this key item. Finally, they let you drop stuff on the ground. But you didn't get to have your cake and eat it too, because they got rid of the chests. The inventory chests were gone, and I remember people complaining about this before. Oh, you got these magical chests that just link to other chests through the game? How does that happen? Maybe there's one of those tubes, one of those pneumo tubes, or whatever the hell they're called. I don't know. Does it really need to make sense? It's convenient. It was there, and it was convenient. You drop your shit into the chest, and then you can go to another room, and it's, hey, it's in this chest too. Awesome. It doesn't make sense, but it's convenient. So sometimes things don't really have to make sense for the sake of convenience. And yeah, that always irritated me, having to ferry my items back and forth. Sure, you can drop them on the ground, but there were only so many things you could drop on the ground before it was like, you can't drop anything else. Go drop something somewhere else. And then before you know it, you're going between a couple of different areas to pick up your items, and it was a headache. You know, it was a headache. It was a terrible inventory system. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. They're like, yeah, let's let people drop stuff, but no chests. That's the twist. It was like a sick joke. Like, oh, so you want to drop things? Okay. They want to drop things, Steve. Let's make them drop things. Let's let them drop things on the floor and then give them no chests. Then they have to walk back and forth and ferry items around. And the first time you got off of the train, you know, it just hit you. Oh, I gotta scoop up all this shit and then ferry it into the save room, and then go back and scoop up the rest of it like 2 or 3 times to ferry it all into the save room. That's not fun. Don't put things in your game that are not fun, because games are supposed to be fun. That's that wasn't fun. That was the opposite of fun. That was backtracking bullshit, and it got on my nerves. But other than that, I thought it was a great game. I mean, the story was, it was okay. I mean, I was really hyped when I first heard about Resident Evil Zero. Oh, what happened, before the mansion incident, where you got to go in and see the other team and what happened with those guys. After all these years, you always wondered what the hell exactly went down with Enrico and everybody and Rebecca, and you get to see that, and it's really cool that you get to see that. But I kind of felt like it just didn't really do it for me. I don't know. So I can see how people would say that this isn't their favorite, but the worst or a boring game, that's rather harsh for a review in my opinion. And I'm going to pick on one review in particular. I don't remember who said it, but this guy's got like a major publishing site where, like, I guess people take him seriously. He didn't even get off the frickin' train. Yeah. He reviewed this game and didn't get off of the train. How are you going to review the game when you don't get past the beginning part of the game? Dude, you are not qualified to offer a review for this game if you didn't get off of the Ecliptic Express. What the fuck? He's like, yeah, I'm probably going to just kind of suck it up and get through the game. And he said something that just cracked me up. He's like, I'm going to put it on easy. And right there, fucking red flags are going off. You never got past the train. You're putting it on easy. So basically the game whooped your ass and you got mad and you stopped playing it. And that is one thing about Resident Evil Zero. People consider it to be the hardest out of the classic Resident Evil games. I don't concur unless you're talking strictly canon, because if you look at Resident Evil Outbreak and Outbreak File 2, those games were hard. Especially on very hard. If you put them on very hard, oh man, the zombies are relentless. They come through the doors, they chase you, there's just no escape. You got a virus meter that's constantly ticking in your face like, hurry up or you're gonna fucking die. That was the hardest Resident Evil ever. The first file. I think the second file probably wasn't as hard. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Those games were hard. Hard. You want to see hard? Try playing those by yourself. They were hard with friends. Imagine trying to play them alone. But yeah, no, Resident Evil Zero does not suck. I think it's a great game. I don't think it's the reason why Resident Evil changed and why it didn't. Well, it might account for that actually, because if you take a look at Zero and the remake of the original game, yeah, the sales weren't that great, but they were stuck on the GameCube. Everybody forgets that. These are games that were stuck on a console that really didn't do that good. It did okay, but Microsoft and Sony, they were lighting shit up that generation, folks. You really can't account for that. You have to, no. Just no. It was stuck on hardware that just wasn't doing that great. And I remember Capcom saying that. They're like, yeah, our classics games didn't do that good that we brought out. But Resident Evil 4 did really great. Yeah. You brought that out on different consoles. I mean, I know at first Resident Evil 4 was kind of exclusive to GameCube. At least I believe it was. Correct me if I'm mistaken. But yeah, no. I mean, I'm not going to blame Zero for that shit. I think it was a good game. I'm going through it now. I'm playing it again. I'm going through and I'm reliving all of the memories. And it was definitely a difficult game. And graphically, it was absolutely beautiful. Even today, it looks good. I know they gave it the HD treatment and they touched things up. But that game looked beautiful before. It looks beautiful now. And, I know they added a new control scheme into it. I don't like that. I know why they did it. They did it for the casual, modern gamer. But when you add in a control scheme like that, it makes the game easier. And a lot of people thought that, maybe at first it started this way with the original Resident Evil, maybe 1 and 2, where they had a restriction where they couldn't really make the controls any better. But that, to me, it seemed like it was a design decision. They did it because they wanted that tension. They wanted you to feel like tanky and that you couldn't really move around like a freaking superstar athlete. Because of that, you felt claustrophobic and you felt that sense of dread because you didn't maneuver that well. So when they added in these new controls with the remaster of the original Resident Evil, now with Zero, I don't like that. I know why they did it, but still, I just don't like it, man. If you're going to play this, even if you are a modern gamer who's never played it, play with the classic controls the way that it was meant to be played, because you're going to lose something. You know, it's going to get lost in translation if you play with the newer controls. But I want to know what you guys think. What are your thoughts on Resident Evil 0? What are your thoughts on the remaster of it? Let me know down in the comments section below, guys. If you like this video, please remember to vote it up so that others can see it. If you're new here, I ask that you please subscribe. I thank you all for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all in my next video.